A woman has a jacket sitting in her cart. She has been thinking about it for 11 days. She still isn't sure. Then a small line appears under the price. Only 2 left. She buys it in under a minute. Nothing about the jacket has changed. Not the fabric, not the fit, not the price she'll pay. 2 words changed. Her brain treated those 2 words as information about the jacket. They were not. This is the scarcity effect, the tendency to assign more value to a thing simply because there is less of it available or less time to get it. It is one of the most reliably reproduced findings in social psychology, and it is the single easiest lever anyone can pull on your wallet. Once you see it, you will start noticing it in almost every purchase you have ever rushed. In 1975, the psychologist Stephen Worchel, working with Jerry Lee and Akanbi Adewole, ran an experiment that has been repeated in some form ever since. The setup was almost insultingly simple. 200 participants were handed a glass jar of chocolate chip cookies and asked to taste one and rate it. Some received a jar with 10 cookies inside. Some received a jar with 2. Same cookies, same recipe, same batch. The people who took a cookie from the nearly empty jar rated it as more desirable, more attractive. And, this is the part that matters, they estimated it cost more money. Then Worchel added a twist. Some participants watched a jar of 10 cookies get taken away and replaced with a jar of 2. Those cookies scored highest of all. And when participants were told the cookies had been removed because other people wanted them, the ratings climbed higher still than when they were told it was a clerical mistake. So the cookie got better as it got rarer, and better again as it got rarer because of competition. Nobody tasted anything different. Something upstream of taste had already made the decision. 2 years later, Sharon Brame and Marcia Weinraub tested the same instinct in people who could barely speak. They put 2-year-old children in a room with 2 identical toys. One stood in the open, the other stood behind a transparent plexiglass barrier the child could see through but not reach around. When the barrier was short enough to climb over, the toddlers chose more or less at random. When it was tall enough to genuinely block access, the boys in the study went for the obstructed toy roughly 3 times faster than the one they could simply pick up. Girls in the study did not show the effect, which is worth saying out loud, because honest research rarely arrives clean. But the core observation held. The barrier did not make the toy less appealing. The barrier made the toy the point. That finding grew out of a theory Jack Brame had published in 1966 called psychological reactance. His argument was that human beings treat their available options as a kind of possession, threaten to remove one, and the mind doesn't calmly recalculate. It reaches, not because the option got better, but because losing it feels like something being taken. And losing, it turns out, is not weighted the same as gaining. In 1990, Daniel Kahneman, Jack Knetsch, and Richard Thaler ran a study that has become one of the most cited in the field. They gave university coffee mugs to half a room and left the other half empty-handed, then let them trade. The people holding mugs demanded around $7 to give one up. The people without mugs offered around $3. Same mug, same room, same minute. Ownership roughly doubled the price. This is loss aversion, and it is the engine underneath everything scarcity does to you. A normal purchase asks, do I want to gain this? A scarcity signal quietly rewrites the question into, am I about to lose this? And your mind answers the second question with about twice the force it brings to the first. The strangest evidence that this has nothing to do with marketing came from laundry detergent. In 1971, Dade County, Florida, banned detergents containing phosphates. 2 years later, researchers led by Michael Mazes surveyed Miami residents and compared them to residents of Tampa, where phosphate detergents were still on the shelf. The Miami residents rated phosphate detergents as better at cleaning, gentler on fabric, more effective in cold water, better on nearly every measure. No advertising campaign ran, no countdown timer appeared. A government took an option away, and the option got more attractive on its way out the door. By 1991, when Michael Lynn reviewed the accumulated experimental literature on scarcity and value, the pattern was consistent enough to be treated as a design principle rather than a curiosity. And that is exactly what happened. This is the last one premium, the extra amount your brain silently adds to a price tag the moment the supply looks like it is closing. It is invisible, it is automatic, and unlike the cookie jar, it can now be manufactured on a server. In 2019, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority secured formal commitments from 6 major hotel booking sites over pressure-selling tactics, including scarcity claims that made rooms look scarcer than they were. Those little red lines, 1 room left, 3 people are viewing this, are not observations, they are settings. Somebody chose them. Somebody can change them at noon and change them back at midnight. It would be easy to file this under gullibility. It isn't. For almost all of human history, scarcity was a genuinely excellent guide to value because scarcity was real. The berries ran out, the season closed, the herd moved on. The last of something was actually the last of it, and hesitating cost you. A mind that grabbed when supply thinned was a mind that ate. Bream's insight was that we defend our options the way we defend our property, and that instinct kept our ancestors from politely deliberating their way into a hungry winter. What has changed is not your brain. What has changed is that scarcity has become a number in a database, editable by anyone with access. The signal your mind evolved to trust absolutely is now the cheapest thing in the entire transaction to fake. You are not being irrational. You are running accurate software on a corrupted input. Go look. The email that expires in 24 hours and then expires again next Thursday. The flash sale you shopped faster than you shop groceries. The seat map that turned red while you were reading it. The limited edition of something you would not have wanted in unlimited edition. The closing down sale that has been closing down for 2 years. The membership price that was going up soon. Look at the purchases you regret most and check whether the item was actually wrong or whether you simply never got to the part where you decided. That is the tell. Scarcity does not change your answer. It ends the question early. The jar was always going to be refilled. The room was never the last room. The timer resets at midnight, and it has been resetting at midnight for years. Your brain kept score of what might disappear, because for a very long time, that was the only score worth keeping. The question was never really whether you wanted the thing. The question was whether you could still have it, and no one has ever taught you to tell those two apart.